Oh my gosh. Like, it's insane.
I'm so...
Did I realize? I didn't watch
You
that.
did. You did.
What did I say? Like, was I rude about it?
Somebody just said that they loved how you called somebody selfish.
I sometimes say things and then I'm like, oh, dang, that might offend somebody.
And you said it in the context of somebody wanting me to stick around longer.
Oh, well, then I completely still agree with.
I know you do. And
sorry.
It's totally fine.
Like, I'm
Hey friends, it's Kody from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, January 19th, 2024. Well, it's been a busy few days, and yesterday I uploaded a new video about Kody Brown and my belief that he is behind all of these new articles that are coming out about Meri's new boyfriend, Amos Andrews. Yesterday, my video was received relatively well, while some of you still have some questions on whether or not I'm confident about this theory or if it's just a hunch. As I said numerous times in my video, it's my opinion. But another article came out yesterday about Amos after I uploaded my video, and it is about the number of marriages that he has had, which again didn't do anything for me but make me further believe that this is information that's coming from Kody. So we're going to talk about this new article, and I also want to just share with you some funny things that Jen said during a Friday night with friends with Meri, Jen, her best friend, about Robyn and about Kody. Because while Meri is currently in a new relationship and she is of happiness at this point in time, she is also got a best friend that will vehemently defend her and stand by her. That's actually quite funny. So Kody Brown's mission in life is to clear his name and to, you know, be a good man. Do you remember in the tell-all about the good man? I want to just revisit this clip so you kind of understand where we're coming from.
Christine has to destroy my character, or David doesn't feel like he can marry her because she left a good man. I'm not a bad guy. I vetted Robyn differently than that. I vetted Robyn hard because I had to know that she didn't leave a good man.
Every man that has been in one of his wives or ex-wives' lives, whether current or past, is to be trashed by Kody to elevate his own ego. In Kody's eyes, he's the only person that is good enough for all of these women. And even though he doesn't like them, in order for his ego to be satisfied as being the top, he has to trash all the guys. He's saying here that Christine has to trash him, but really it's Kody admitting that he trashes all of the men so that he can prove that he's a good man. So he trashed Preston, Robyn's ex-husband. They made a lot of accusations against him. While publicly he hasn't trashed David, it's very clear that in the tabloids, there's been a lot of bad stories about him. Now with Amos, we have new stories coming out about him, which again are to, in my opinion, elevate Kody's narcissism in belief that he's a good man, and every man that gets involved with women that he was involved with are bad men, because it makes him feel like he wasn't rejected. It's like protecting his fragile ego. So that's where we're coming from with that. So let's dive into the topic. Before we do, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video. So the brand new article that came out was by In Touch, and it's an exclusive. The strange thing about this exclusive is that all of the information they're providing is public record. The only reason I believe there's an exclusive here is that someone provided a name to them. They gave them Amos's last name so that they're able to do digging, right? Otherwise, nothing in this article is actually exclusive because it's going off records in the court. In my comments yesterday, some people suggest maybe one of his scorned ex-wives reached out to In Touch and gave information about who this guy was. The issue I have with that is if it was a scorned ex-wife or even one of his exes, In Touch would then have information about their marriages and about his marriages, and they don't. All they say is he had 4 marriages. They give the dates of the marriages, and they say they have no details about what went wrong or what happened in these marriages. I don't believe it's an ex that gave this information. On top of it, the news comes out within a day. It's at In Touch. It's with a reporter that covers sister wives and with people that, an outlet that works with the family. How would they know to go to this specific outlet, the exes, and then give no details about who he is, and then have only 2 articles come out, and it's just, oh, we found a bankruptcy he has, and he was married 4 times. If it was one of the ex-wives, they would actually have details about his relationship. There would be something more salacious than a public record. I believe Kody or one of Kody's minions, Robyn, Kendra, whoever is one of the flock that will smear for Kody, one of the flying monkeys, gave this name to In Touch. And how they obtained the name could have been from production, but Kody's best friend's name is Nathan Diltz. Do you know who Nathan's married to? Rebecca. Do you know who Rebecca is? Meri's sister. There's a lot of ways Kody can get information on Meri. It can be through family members that they have in common, friends that they have in common, or production. And if Amos is signed to be filmed, if say he's filmed at any point in the series since October, then on top of that, Kody would know through contracts. So there's a variety of ways Kody would know this name. But they wouldn't have been able to find this information without the name. The other part that is odd to me is that how do we know that this is his last name? Because if you search this name now, there's no photos of this guy before Meri posts this photo online of him. So there's no way of attaching his picture to that name. So someone had to know that this was his name. Feel me? So the article is he was married 4 times before their relationship. And then it goes into detail about how he was married and divorced and married a woman named Tracy, got divorced in 98, quickly married another woman named Shannon, declared divorce in 2000. So within the span of a year or 2, he's remarried and then divorced again. And then gets married again to another woman named Christine, who then he divorces in 2004. So in the span of 6 years, he goes through 3 divorces. There might have been something going on personally with him. Maybe he was picking the wrong ladies. They always say some people have a bad picker. Maybe he is a Mormon and felt like the only way that he could be intimate with someone was through marriage. And then he waited 12 years to get married again to a woman named Jennifer, who he was married to for 5 years. None of these marriages were long. None of them seemed to work out. And all of this is sort of irrelevant. All it's doing, in my opinion, is sort of putting out this scandal like, oh, Meri, he can't be trusted because he's had all of these failed relationships. I would argue that every person that has a failed relationship history has a failed relationship history until they find the right person for them. And it's the right time in their lives. If I look back at my life, I had a lot of failed relationships, a lot of ex-boyfriends before I got married to my husband. If I would have married them, I would have had marriages and divorces. It's just he happened to get legally married. So it tells me that he cares about commitment and commitment matters to him. Otherwise, he wouldn't get married. I mean, Kody has 3 divorces and they weren't even real marriages. So right now, what the smear is that this guy isn't trustworthy. That's what I'm getting out of it. We shouldn't trust him because he has a bankruptcy and he has 4 ex-wives. And that's what we're supposed to go off of. We don't know anything about his backstory. We don't know what happened in these marriages. We have no clue. Kody doesn't have the best track record either. And Meri comes from polygamy. And unfortunately, because of her background in polygamy and the background in a legal lifestyle, some men and some guys in the dating pool will not want to be associated with who Meri is and the people that are around her. Even though Meri's out, going into that world and marrying into that world, it's hard to comprehend what you're getting yourself into until you get into it. And I spoke to a woman a couple months ago who happens to know Meri, who married into polygamy. She had no clue about this guy's background, no clue about this guy's family. She just knew that her husband now wasn't going to be a polygamist. He would tell her about his upbringing, but she didn't really comprehend it. And now that she's in it, She's like, whoa, holy crap, I'm married to a guy whose father is a brethren in a cult. You know what I mean? Like, you don't comprehend what that means until you're in it. Polygamous men and men in this subculture are lawless. They are sovereign citizens and believe they are the only law that they need to actually abide by is the law of God, and they only answer to God. They don't respect the laws of the land. And so when someone gets involved with someone that's from this world, they enter into a world that's like a subculture where the laws don't matter. It's like bizarro world. Up is down, left is right, and you don't understand or comprehend sometimes the danger that you're in by getting involved with some of these people. I'm not saying that Meri is a dangerous person. I'm just saying that there are people that are surrounding Meri and that are related to Meri that are involved with dangerous people. None of these men are, okay, not all men in polygamy are bad men, but they're not all good men either. Kody's not a good man. And a lot of Kody's friends are not good men. And these are men that a lot of them are abusive. And a lot of them will retaliate against men for getting with their ex-wives or their women. You're surrounding yourself in a situation that could potentially be harmful and dangerous to you. And that's something that not all people want to get involved in. It's unfair to Meri, but it's a reality of her life. And it's one of the ways that polygamous men will get these women to stay, because they'll say no one will want you in the outside world. And men and women can find happiness afterwards. It's going to take the right person that's going to be willing to put up with all this BS and understand that Meri is a good person outside of that world, and that Meri has extracted herself from that world and she can't help who her family is now. But it's going to take the right person that's willing to go on that journey with her. Not because she's a bad person, not because has a bad history or any of that. It's because of the polygamy culture and how toxic and dangerous it is. So Kody could be doing this for a variety of reasons. To make himself look better, he could be trying to get revenge on Meri. He could be trying to isolate Meri by getting this guy to be scared by this stuff coming out about him. So if you put out enough bad press about him, maybe the pressure will get to him so that he'll want to leave, which then will reinforce to Kody that he's the best person for her. It could be that he inflate his own ego, inflate his own self-importance. He might want to make this guy scared of him. There's a lot of different reasons Kody could be doing this, but the smear campaign is a tactic used by Kody. He's been smearing Meri for years, so it would be of no consequence for him to start smearing Amos. My opinion on Kody is that I don't believe he wants her to move on. I think he wants her to pine for him for the rest of his life. And I think that in a way he might want that because he thinks then that if she doesn't move on, then he can still count her as a wife, and then he can have a polygamist, life without being a polygamist, if that makes sense. Don't quote me on that. I'm undecided on where Kody believes and what he believes as far as the faith. He won't denounce the Mormon faith. He won't denounce what Joseph Smith did, and he still believes in polygamy, but I don't know if he believes in it for himself. That's just what he's saying publicly. Who knows what's happening privately? So Kody is running a smear campaign, in my opinion, and you're going to see this with everyone. If Janelle goes on and gets a new husband, or she finds a new guy, a smear campaign is going to start on him. Some people will say it's a red flag that he has 4 marriages that have failed. Meri's whole life is kind of a red flag. She's admitted on television that she helped Kody bait women by grooming them to become wives in a plural family. That's not sexy. That's kind of like the opposite of sexy. It's despicable. So she has her own issues, and she's going to be a complicated woman for anyone to get involved with, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the reality. So being with someone that also has a complicated story, maybe they're going to relate to each other better. Maybe they'll understand their heartbreaks better, And if he's open and willing to explore it, and she's open and willing to explore it, maybe it's the right fit. They're not even engaged, so who cares what happened in his marriages? And I'm sure Meri already knew this. So the next piece of information is Jen and her hilarious takedown of Kody. Meri asked Jen if she would be a tell-all host and what questions she would ask Kody, what questions she would ask Robyn, what questions she would ask her. And I literally spit when I heard one of them. So I'm going to show you a couple. Check it out.
What are some questions that you would ask if you were the host?
So one question I would ask, when did you become such an entitled asshole that you think you deserve more land than everyone else? What the hell makes you think you should get how many acres of land? 4? And then Robyn should get 4? And then...
Wait, we're not using names.
Okay.
We're keeping
editors.
it very vague here.
Okay. What in the world were you thinking that everyone's land should be your land? This land is honestly, it doesn't go based on how many children you have. Like, what kinds of selfish, crazy... And is that just like some... sorry.
We have let loose. She has let loose.
I would pay TLC. Pay her money to have Jen be the tell-all host. I know that Kody would never sit through it and would stand up and walk away and would never ask these questions. But seriously, he is selfish about the land. What makes him so selfish about the land? And 2, why wasn't there any discussion about that on the tell-all? Like, why didn't Suki ask him, why do you think that you deserve 8 acres between you and Robyn, but Meri deserves 2? You know, the strange thing in this whole discussion is that the Coyote Pass today is still sitting in the same parcels it's always sat in. It hasn't been subdivided as Kody wanted. It's still the same number of acres with the same women on the same parcels. Meri's still on a parcel with 4 acres along with Janelle. And they have all of it paid off, and it's just sitting there. They're not building on it. They're not pulling permits on it. They're not doing anything on it. So yes, I thought that was hilarious about what makes him so selfish and self-righteous. She also, if you saw if you scroll all the way back to the beginning of this video on my channel, someone thanked her or liked that she called Robyn selfish and for wanting Meri to stay in an unhappy place. And Jen said that she is selfish. Jen also said that she just gets frustrated watching the show because she knows Meri's real life. And, you know, I don't think I need to reiterate this, but the show is scripted. A lot of this is content for the show. This isn't anything of what's actually happening in their real lives. In their real lives, yes, they own Coyote Pass, but in their real lives, they're not doing anything on it. It's a stupid storyline. In the real world, Meri doesn't even interact with these people, and on the show, she's forced to. So Jen just is probably done with it. Now, the next question Jen has is hysterical.
Another question.
Okay, another question. Have you considered Rogaine? Editors don't use that.
I spit. When I heard that for the first time, I was drinking coffee and I had a little bit in my mouth and I literally spit it all over my desk. I couldn't believe she said that, and I was like, that is so hysterical and mean. And listen, some men bald. They lose their hair with age. Some men struggle with that and don't want to let go of their hair. Some men will go through really awkward phases with their hair in an effort to make their hair appear thicker and not balding. Other men will just embrace that they're balding and they will shave their heads or they will keep it very short. They don't try to fight the nature of their hair loss. I'm sure hair loss is challenging for all people that go through it, but some people handle it better than others, and Kody is for sure the opposite of handling it well. So that part was funny. The last question she had was actually for Meri and very pointed about a conversation they had had.
Remember that one time like 10 years ago in the grocery store when I said I'd help you move? How come you didn't just take me up on it then?
I don't actually remember that. Listen, it's all about me having to figure it out myself and in my own time. There are things that I needed to learn.
You know what? And I think like you were the most loyal. When we watched, because we had to watch the pieces of the episodes that gave us the talkbacks. And so one of the pieces, like at one point Christine said it and Janelle said it, Meri is definitely the most loyal. No, I'm not saying that, wow, that sounded rude. Meri is extremely loyal. I wasn't trying to compare. So like a long time ago, I'm like, listen, I will help you move the minute you're ready. You just tell me when.
Were we both living in Vegas at the time?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I only kind of vaguely remember it. But
It was probably the year before I moved. But
And then I tried to
like, I think because you're so loyal, you were willing to like try. I am not that kind of, like, I am loyal, but at the same time, when I am done, I will burn the world down.
I love that Meri had a friend in her life that was there with her and met Meri where she was at and sat with Meri in Meri's frustration and indecision and heartache, didn't push her, but offered her an out if she needed one. I'm glad that she had a friend that saw her pain and gave her an alternative, but didn't make her do anything she didn't want to do. And I think Meri did have to just figure it out on her own. You know, they always say you can't force someone to leave a situation. You can't intervene in a relationship and make them get out. They have to figure it out on their own. And that's a hard place for some friends to be when you see one of your friends being mistreated. But as Meri said, she had to figure it out on her own. So Jen had quite a bit to say about Kody. She had quite a bit to say about Robyn being selfish, Kody being selfish and entitled, Kody needing Rogaine, and letting Meri know that she would have helped her 10 years ago leave. And Kody's smear campaign will continue and will keep you up to date on all of its happenings and make sure we call it out. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye!